Hello, everyone! So, let me start this off by saying I like both Jason and Slasher quite a lot. I watched 6 of the Friday the 13th movies and enjoyed them, and I have over 200 levels on Slasher. Also, I was around during the days of Jason and hated the idea of replacing him when I first learned about it. Overall, I'm mostly here to defend my boy to hell and back from those who dare say he's the lesser of the two, and I won't be beating down on Jason a whole lot. First off, design. I'm no good at character design, but this... I know it's classic, it's weirdly hard to absorb what I'm even looking at. I don't think I have the experience and thus the right to speak on his, so I'm gonna speak on my boy Slashers instead. He and Jason share the fact that they wear a mask, of course. For some reason, Slashers makes him look kind of, like, doll-like to me. I like the creepiness of it, basically, is what I'm saying. I also like that it's not clear that he's a bacon, but you can see he has the classic bacon shirt. It's also fun to have this mysterious book just stabbed into his shoulder. It's weird, but fun. His design isn't overwhelming to look at, but detailed. It has a creep factor to it and gives off the impression that he's someone you should avoid, which feels very fitting. As for backstories, they're both pretty rad. What I love about slashers is that it feels like if Jason's tied into the lore better, basically. He was in the war, which ties him to an important event, as well as Guest 1337. Then Area 51, another important location where he also met some of the other killers, which are upcoming. Not to mention still having things such as a single mother and hydrocephalus and ending up similar to Jason, plus having ties with the Necrobloxicon, which is an important item. It just works so well while also being very rad in my opinion. Now, let me take a detour to talk about the skins. Something I personally find sad is that he has a disgusting amount of reference skins. Let me just quickly say that I love a lot of things that are referenced in this game, but I still hate reference skins. Like the White Pumpkin one, I love Minecraft Story Mode, and at least it fits well. I just like when things are original or take a fun amount of inspiration. That being said, I still think it was a good idea to keep the references to the movies. Mostly because they don't feel all that intrusive, I guess I'd say. Plus, it's just a nice nod to the past. Anyways, I'm actually here to talk about his milestone skins. I won't mention Jason's much because I only ever owned his milestone one. Quick note, I like the simplicity of the quotes. They get across how he felt and what happened pretty easily. Now, first, milestone 1, which is very simple, but I love it. Actually, for the same reason I adore John Doe's milestone 1, that being the emotion. I mean, you can just tell he's terrified, even having nothing but his pupil to look at. I don't know how to describe the skin, it's just simplistic in a good way, showcases the lore clearly and nicely, and I just really like it. I like Milestone 2's sort of showcase of a transitional period with the sort of zombification aspect. It's not my personal favorite, but it still looks nice. Not much to say on it. Milestone 3 makes a lot less sense regarding the lore, since this is a reference to the 6th movie in the Friday the 13th series, and doesn't exactly tie in well, but it feels somewhat alternate universe-esque to me, and I love alternate universes, so I'll take it. It has a somewhat grotesque but not overly so appearance with all the chains and the ribcage and stuff, plus some very nice water effects. Looks quite creepy when you look at it without the effects, giving off a sort of sunken vibe. And if we want to fit this in lore-wise, as the quote implies, it's sort of a representation of his feelings. Hatred drowned out any thoughts I had. I just wanted to rest. This actually fits as such a perfect quote for Jason, funnily enough, considering the lake is sort of his resting place. Works just fine for slasher metaphor-wise. Yeah, the poor guy. As for Milestone 4, sorry, but I gotta say, I truly think Fire Slasher out-aura farms Fire Jason. I mean, especially with the particles, and especially the flames that come out of his eye, he just looks so menacing. I really like that they kept the pitchfork, and I have no clue what the sword is about, but it adds on to the demonic vibe. Speaking of which, the book is very cool and adds on to said vibe as well, with it having a face, showing that it itself is alive and affecting Slasher, or at least it hints towards it. Now, what I said about Milestone 3 also applies to Milestone 4, that being it's a reference to the movies that doesn't make much sense lore-wise, but makes sense as a metaphor when reading the quote. This time it says, "Hatred burned out any thoughts I had, I just wanted revenge." Which also fits extremely well with Jason, but fits similarly as well with Slasher, I'd say. Or maybe it fits better with Jason. I don't know, I only watched up to the 6th movie. But yeah, it totally makes sense why he would be seeking revenge. I doubt I need to explain why. Unrelated side note, but the model without the particles kind of makes him look like a Jacko variant. Like, you know the Jackos from FNAF? It makes me think of that. It's fun. So yeah, those were the milestones. If you're curious which one is my favorite, anyway, let's briefly talk about the animations. I'm just gonna skip over them quickly. I find the stun animation amusing because it kind of looks like he's just straight up crying with the way he puts his hands over his eyes. The run animation is weirdly terrifying to see from the front. The kill animation is wildly disrespectful, and I'll talk about the ones for guests later because I really like them. And I'd say the animation for Raging Pace is simple but cool. As for the Milestone 3 and 4 animations, the kill animation is somehow even more disrespectful and fitting to have him beat the crap out of everyone, since at that point he's just completely filled with rage. In general, it's weirdly amusing that he goes from slashing people to punching them into oblivion. This carries through onto the gashing wound animation. Also, something about Milestone 3 and 4 making the Raging Pace animation so menacing. The walk, I mean. The way he just walks towards you, it's great. Now for the animations with guests. I really like how the default kill animation where Slasher gets punched and he has to recover before killing guests is something he doesn't even learn from, just straight up grows past. Also, it's wild that Guest just dislocates his arm from the punch, like holy moly, dude. Also, the Milestone 3 and 4 guest kill animation is so clean. So much happens in such a short time and it's fun to dissect. Though it's also easy to tell what happened. The sound of Slasher breaking Guest's arm is pretty gross, but somewhat satisfying seeing him parry the guy into oblivion. Now, let's take a very brief moment to simply appreciate the art of Slasher and his friends. Such a weird trio, but it's adorable. Alright, since we don't have much to say on those three altogether yet, let's talk about him and Guest. I love how they reflect each other by leading similar lives with different results, and the idea that in some world they become good friends. I know it will never happen, but I so deeply wish they could have gotten a last man standing, because the idea of their relationship is one of my favorites. In fact, it's what made me love Guest. I'm not sure if it could happen, but I like to think that their relationship is one of the only important ones that would have developed while inside the realm, even if it was negative on one or both sides. At least a relationship formed, like, on both sides that wouldn't have been there before, if that makes sense. But that's just me coming up with crap that I wish was true and that I feel like they keep wanting me to think is true because of how often they put these two together. Alright, what else is there to say? The music, I guess? I don't have much to say on the music. It's not my favorite, but it's not bad. Yeah, I guess that's all I have to say about him. Overall, I love him and he deserves to be a part of this game. Rest in peace, Jason. Thanks for watching. Please be polite and respectful in the comments because you are not welcome otherwise. Thank you. Maybe I'll do this again sometime just because I like ranting about how much I like characters.